Right, well these two are about to leave. This one on its Euro trip, which it does every year, so I always prep this up. Been looking after this one for about, it must be 12, 13, maybe even 14 years. Anyway, I'm doing it a while, and I've done a lot of work on this one over the years. So this one gets prepped every year and does touring throughout Europe and further afield sometimes. And this one's done just about, so it's going to go back to the owner. He's going to enjoy the end of the summer. Might, you know, have it back in for some development work during the winter, depending on what we find. Hasn't been on the road for 20 odd years now, and then of course also it's just been completely taken apart and had this major restoration. So if you remember, there was that, we did the film about some of the chrome work I've done. Best to refer back to that, but we might put some bits in about it as we go. So if we work round, start this side, I guess. So things like this. So I made these gutter trims, made these A-post trims. We had to make that little trim in there. Then I've done these stainless steel trims that run the length of here. So I made those. This aluminium trim was missing, so I had to make that to match the other side. We got bits in here that I've made, then the check straps and the door hinges I've made. Then this panel through here, this aluminium trim here, I had to make those for both sides. So that's just that bit. And then in here, these control knobs for the air vents. I had to make them, didn't I, if you remember, to do the outside vent. So make them, turn up the little knobs and make these and then have them chrome plated, these steel bits. Bit more tidying up of the loom to do, which will happen in the next couple of days. So yeah, that's that bit. I did a lot of work inside here with the radio.
Reported her disappearance 7 weeks.
So the aperture where it goes in had been hacked out to put a big old 8-track in it in the 70s. So I had to change that. I had to make a new sort of insert to go in there to strengthen it up so I could take this lovely old Becker, which is yeah, in there and done. This speaker grill I had to do, that was missing, so I made one of those in metal, made one of those in steel. They're normally plastic. A great job for 3D printing, but you know, it's too difficult to muck around doing that, and I didn't have time, so I just made one in metal, in steel. I found someone that would pierce out the holes, and then I formed the rest of it up by hand, made a little former to do it on. We'll have a look at that. Have a look in the engine bay in a minute. If you stay this side, I'll go over there and pop the hood. And on my way round, we can have a look at those. So that was another bit I had to make, that aperture. Made that, and then these little vents on there. So there was plenty of things to do. Right. So, same sort of thing under here, making a few bits up. So this thing I had to make, this rod that does the catches. This heat shield, which we've seen. There's another heat shield over here. We'll have to get a shot of that in a minute, but I had to do that. Even the nut for the end of the water pump I had to make, because that's an opposite thread and that had gone missing, so you can't just buy a nut or find one, you have to make one. So we'll have a look at some of that. So in the boot here I had to make this, little piece that covers the catch. So this covers the catch up. Then you have a little actuator there, little switch there that does the little boot light. And then we had to cover it in leather, but they had to make this and the plunger and so on. So we'll have a look at that, how I made one of those. That's another little bit. So we'll have a look at that. Remember we did these. This was missing. Remember this trim here? So I made that. And then again, all the other sort of jewellery for this side of the car, but we know about that. So probably go back and it'd be good to look at that earlier video to look at the chrome work stuff. Okay, I'll put it up in the air and we'll have a look under there. So under here, we've got the 4 floor pans. So all 4 floor pans I had to make. And then I've put the ridges in them the way they should have, these swages. Then we've finished it in this black rubberized coating that I use. Then the swages run the other way on the front floor pans. Now these will be fiberglass from factory, but we do them in steel now. It's the sort of what's deemed to be best practice. These trays I had to do, all the splash guards and under trays I had to make. Up this end, so you've got these drop links here. I had to make those. Then this bracket that carries the drop link, how to make that. That's all for the anti-roll bar, so I did that. And then moving back in this direction, gearbox mount, I had to make that. There's another thing that had gone missing. And then if we can get it, we probably can't get this with the camera very easily. But up in here, you might see where I've got my finger. Now this piece here, this quadrant for the handbrake, again, another bit that had gone missing. So I had to make that up. But yeah, make one of those. We'll have a look at that in detail. That was another slightly vexing thing to make. One of these was missing. So I'm going to make one of those up. Fairly simple, but I had to buy in the box. And the box is imperial rather than metric. So I had to buy a box section in, which was difficult to find. And then this actually has sleeves in here, because obviously when you do that up, if you had an open box, it'd just crush it. So it actually has sleeves. So simple piece, but actually it's still enough work, you know, not a 5-minute job. So yeah, that's some of the stuff I've been making, which kept me really rather busy. So it's been a bit involved, but there we are. It's now done. So yeah, splash tray, splash guards on the inner wings, all that stuff as well. We'll have a look at that. Even the front number plate bracket, which we can have a look at. Absolutely lovely cars these, I'm a big fan. And with the Lucas injection they sort of behave in a strange way, almost like a turbine the way it sort of comes on. And you sort of have to drive them accordingly really, they're not like a carburetted car. And a very sophisticated injection system for its day, but obviously not like modern fuel injection. But yeah, they were a wonderful thing in the day, wasn't it? So 140, 150 mile an hour car. I mean, it's astonishing, wasn't it, in the mid 60s? The measure of any Ferrari or any other car of its type back then. And of course it was an old brand, wasn't it? Maserati was Italy's racing brand. So, it wasn't sort of the new upstart, it was the old guard. So, they've been going a long time, whereas Ferrari had only been going about 10 years when this car came out. And then also, if you think about it, the Lamborghini were just brand new, it didn't really, not really the same thing. So this was a proper gentleman's car. No, you wouldn't be doing this in your Lamborghini, would you? You wouldn't be able to put up with it. This is supple, proper ride, so it'll do the stuff like this. Up an old farm track and onto a field. I know it's not its proper territory. Should be on the autostrada, but there you go. But I'm proving the fact that you can do anything with one of these. They are brilliant. Well, not quite anything. We don't want to do too much off-road, do we? Well, as I say, it's good. You've got proper supple suspension. You can actually drive properly, normally. In real well conditions, and then it's obviously very smooth on the open road. I don't like these cars that are so harsh. Modern cars, low profile tyres and terrible suspension that, well, they have no suspension, that's the trouble, isn't it? Well, these are supple, they sort of roll and pitch a bit. They're lovely. It's far more usable. Beautiful thing. Got a fancy one myself.